There comes a moment when life leaves you staring at the ashes, your plans shattered, your strength drained, your direction lost. That moment is not your end, it is your test. The weak call it failure. The strong call it the beginning of power. First, face your ruin without excuses. Don't hide behind pity. Don't beg for sympathy. Look at the wreckage and say, "This is mine, and I will rise from it." Power begins when you stop lying to yourself. Then ignite your desire. Every great rebirth starts with hunger. The man or woman who wants something so badly they can taste it will find a way to build it, no matter how many times they've fallen. Desire is not a wish. It is a command to your spirit. Next, discipline must become your law. Emotions come and go. Motivation fades. But discipline, that's the iron spine of transformation. Wake up and move whether you feel like it or not. Rebuilding isn't about feeling good. It's about becoming unstoppable. Ibrawi, decide with finality. When you decide to rebuild, burn every bridge back to weakness. Leave no escape routes. You cannot rise with one foot still in the past. The mind must be sealed with conviction. No doubt, no delay, no retreat. Ibraki, build from the mind outward. You cannot rebuild your life until you first rebuild your thoughts. Every achievement starts as an idea, disciplined, shaped, and protected in the mind before it appears in the world. Guard your thoughts like gold, because they are. Hebrew tree, then act daily. Do something every single day that brings you closer to your new self. Progress doesn't happen in explosions. It happens in steady, relentless motion. 10 minutes of action beats 10 hours of excuses. Cut off weak influences. The people, the habits, the voices that feed doubt, remove them. You are rebuilding a fortress. Every weak influence is a crack in your foundation. Protect your mind with the same ferocity you would protect your life. And finally, persist until you rise. Every time you fall, stand faster. Ev? Every setback is a forge, shaping the steel in your character. Refuse defeat. Refuse despair. The world cannot destroy a person who has rebuilt themselves from nothing, because that person now understands the truth. Abrak, the power to rebuild is the power to rule your life. So rise, rebuild, and let your comeback become your crown. Ibruk, accept the ruin, face the truth brutally. There comes a point when you must stop pretending that everything is fine. You know it isn't. The mirror tells the truth that your excuses try to bury. The dreams that once burned in your chest now flicker like dying embers, and every corner of your life feels heavy with the weight of what you could have been. That's the moment most people run from, the moment when the mask cracks, when reality stands naked before you. But not you. You are here to rebuild. And rebuilding begins with one ruthless act. You must accept the ruin. Abrawa, not gently, not half-heartedly, brutally. Look at the wreckage of your choices, your mistakes. Why? Our losses and your wasted time. Don't hide from it. Don't try to sugarcoat it with comforting lies. Stand before the truth like a soldier facing the battlefield and say, yes, this is what I've done. This is what I've allowed. This is where I've fallen. Because power is born the moment you stop denying the facts of your life. Every great transformation begins in honesty. You cannot rebuild what you refuse to acknowledge is broken. Too many people waste years trying to decorate their damage instead of repairing it. They cover their pain with distractions, drown their guilt in entertainment, and run from the silence where truth speaks. But you cannot outrun reality. It will always catch you, and when it does, it will demand payment. The price of denial is destruction. The reward of acceptance is strength. To accept the ruin means to strip yourself of every illusion. It means admitting that the life you have now is the exact result of your own thoughts, actions, and habits. No one else. Not luck, not fate. You. That realization will sting, but that sting is the beginning of rebirth. Because if you created the ruin, you can also create the rebuild. You are not powerless. You are simply undisciplined. And discipline begins with truth. Apruka, face it brutally. Look at where you went wrong. Look at the promises you broke. To yourself, to others. Look at the laziness, the fear, the hesitation that kept you from doing what you knew had to be done. Do not flinch. Do not make excuses. Every failure you own becomes a stone you can use to rebuild your foundation. Every lie you destroy clears the space for new strength to rise. Abru, you might think facing the truth will break you. It won't. It will cleanse you. It will burn away the weakness that's been holding you hostage. Most people crumble because they never do this inner work. They carry their past like chains, pretending it's not there. But when you face the ruin, you take those chains in your hands and say, I forged these, and now I'll break them. That's the difference between those who rise and those who remain fallen. Ibrahri, the ruin is not your punishment. It is your instruction. Tears things down not to destroy you, but to show you what was never built right in the first place. The broken pieces are not signs of failure. They are materials for a stronger version of you, but only if you stop blaming and start building. Ibroka, to accept the ruin is to declare war on weakness. It is to stop playing the victim and start playing the architect of your destiny. You are not what happened to you. You are what you decide to do about it. When you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now, the entire direction of your life changes. Roher, and yes, it hurts, it should. Growth without pain is an illusion. Pain is proof that something real is shifting inside you. It is the sound of old limits breaking, of the old self dying so that something greater can live. When you face the truth brutally, you strip away every comfort that kept. You small. You kill the old identity that clung to mediocrity. And in that emptiness, you finally meet your real self, the one capable of power, discipline, and unstoppable purpose. This is where the rebuilding begins, not in motivation, not in hype, but in truth, because only the truth can give you the strength to rise again. If you want to rebuild your life, you must first destroy the lies that have been building it for you. Lies like, I'm not ready. Lies like, it's too late. Lies like, it's not my fault. Every one of them is poison. Every one of them must go. Abri, you must face your own reflection until you see not the failure, but the fighter. The ruin is not a grave. It's the ground you will rebuild on. Look at the ashes and say, this is where I start again. That declaration is the spark. That acceptance is the hammer that breaks limitation. Yubran, once you face the truth, you will feel something shift inside you. You'll stop begging for another chance, and you'll start creating one. You'll stop blaming others and start leading yourself. The fear will still whisper, the doubt will still test you, but they'll no longer control you, because a person who has faced the ruin has nothing left to fear. You've already lost, already fallen, already failed, and yet you're still standing. That means you've already won. Ebruk, so face the truth brutally. Tear away the comfort, crush the excuses, stand in the wreckage and claim it as your foundation. Because from that place of raw honesty, from that total acceptance of what is, you will rebuild. Stronger, wiser, unshakable. The world may see your ruin as an ending. But those who know the power of truth understand this. Every fall is the birth of a new rise. And the moment you face your reality without fear, you take command of it. That's where all greatness begins, not in perfection, but in courage. Hebrew, so stand tall in your ruin, stare it down, accept it completely. Because once you do, the next version of you will no longer be built from weaken. Yes, it will be built from truth. And nothing built from truth can ever fall again. Reignite desire. The fire of purpose must return. Hebrew. There comes a time when the spark inside you begins to fade. You start moving through life mechanically, doing what you must, not what you were meant for. The fire that once burned bright in your heart is now reduced to a whisper of smoke. You wake up, you move, but you don't feel alive. That is the most dangerous state a human can enter. Not failure, not loss, but numbness. Because when your desire dies, you stop living and start merely existing. But here's the truth. The fire never truly dies. It hides beneath the ashes, waiting for you to command it to rise again. The greatest power you possess is the ability to reignite it. That's the moment everything changes. When you look at your dull existence and say, enough, I will not live like this anymore. I will feel that fire again. A desire is the beginning of all creation. Every empire, every inventio, and every victory in human history started as a single burning desire in someone's heart. The weak wait for the world to hand them purpose. The strong create it. You must remember what once set your soul on fire. You must remember what made you dream before fear taught you to play small. The first step to reigniting desire is honesty. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? Not what you think is possible, not what others approve of, but what calls to you in the silence when no one is watching. That calling, that quiet voice within you, that is your purpose trying to speak again. But it cannot be heard over the noise of excuses, fear, and conformity. You must silence the world to hear your own soul. Once you know what you want, feed it. Feed it with thought, with imagination, with vision so vivid that it begins to pull you forward. Every morning, remind yourself what you are chasing and why you must have it. Desire weakens when neglected, but it grows fierce when fed. Think about it, talk about it. Live inside it. Let it consume your focus until your actions begin to align with your hunger. Desire is the electricity of life. It fuels persistence, it shapes destiny, and it makes ordinary people unstoppable. Without desire, there is no discipline, no growth, no greatness. The body follows the fire of the mind, and when that fire burns bright, no obstacle can endure its heat. Abe Brewer, you once had that fire. Remember the feeling when you wanted something so badly that sleep became an inconvenience, when every obstacle looked like a challenge, not a wall. That was desire in its purest form. You didn't need motivation. You were possessed by purpose. That version of you still exists, buried, maybe bruised, but not broken. The only thing that separates you from that person is your decision to reignite what time and fear have dimmed. To rebuild your life, you must burn again. You cannot rebuild in coldness. The hands that shape a new life must be guided by passion. Desire gives birth to discipline, and discipline manifests the dream. It is the fire that drives the hammer, the spark that powers the climb. But here's the secret. No one is coming to light that fire for you. No mentor, no friend, no motivational quote will do it. The world will give you matches, but you must strike them yourself. You must decide that comfort is no longer acceptable. You must decide that mediocrity feels worse than pain. The moment you do, the flame begins to rise. You will feel resistance at first. Your mind will whisper, it's too late. You failed before, you can't do it. Ignore that voice. That's not truth. That's the dying echo of your old self trying to survive. The new you, the one who is ready to build, feeds on belief, not doubt. Every day you feed that belief, the fire grows stronger. Reigniting desire also means surrounding yourself with fuel, not smoke. The people you spend time with either feed your fire or suffocate it. Walk away from those who drain your energy, mock your dreams, or speak only of limitation. The fire cannot thrive in cold company. Surround yourself with visionaries, builders, believers, people who remind you of the greatness you carry. When you wake up, light that fire again. Speak your vision out loud. Write it down. Feel it in your chest like it's already real. The universe moves toward those who move with conviction. When your desire becomes unshakable, everything in your path begins to shift. Opportunities appear. Energy returns. The impossible starts to bend. That is the magnetic power of burning purpose. Abraham, and don't confuse desire with mere wishing. A wish waits for things to happen. Desire demands that they happen. It moves mountains, it breaks patterns, it refuses to accept less than what it envisions. True desire is not emotional, it is spiritual. It is the engine of destiny, the very force that turns dreams into reality. So if your fire has dimmed, stop mourning it. Reignite it. Take a deep breath. Look at your life and say, I'm not done yet. That one declaration can turn ashes into flames, because inside you is the same power that once pushed you forward. It's just waiting for permission to come alive again. You must remember, no man, no woman, no power on earth can stop the one who has rediscovered their fire. A person driven by purpose becomes untouchable. Because they no longer chase comfort, they chase meaning. The storms may come, but fire does not fear the rain, it consumes it. The moment you choose to reignite your desire, you awaken every dormant cell of strength within you. Your mind sharpens, your focus locks, your spirit roars, and soon you realize the purpose never left you, you left it. Now it's time to return. Let your heart burn again. Let the flames of passion consume your doubt, your fear, your hesitation. Because when the fire of purpose returns, your direction becomes clear, your energy becomes infinite, and your life becomes unstoppable. Brody, the fire is your power. The fire is your destiny, and it's waiting right now for you to command it to rise. Discipline over emotion. Feelings don't build, actions do. There comes a moment when you must make a brutal choice. Will you live by your feelings or by your focus? Because feelings are liars. They whisper weakness, they crave comfort. They vanish when things get hard. But discipline is truth. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. You can't build greatness on emotion. It's too fragile, too unpredictable. You build greatness on the solid rock of consistent, unbreakable action. The problem with most people isn't that they lack ambition, it's that they depend on motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes in waves, it rises with excitement and dies with struggle. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It moves when you're tired. It works when you're uninspired. It builds when no one's watching. Discipline is loyalty to your purpose, not to your emotions. Your emotions will betray you. They'll tell you to quit when it hurts. They'll tell you to rest when it's time to rise. They'll tell you that success can wait, that maybe tomorrow is good enough. But those who achieve greatness have learned one truth: tomorrow is built by what you do today, not by what you feel today. Every builder of power, every conqueror, every visionary learned to silence their emotions in the moments that mattered most. They didn't always feel ready. They didn't always feel strong, but they acted anyway. And action, repeated, disciplined action, is what transforms weakness into strength. When you rely on emotion, you are ruled by the temporary. When you rely on discipline, you are ruled by vision. Feelings are the weather. Discipline is the climate. You can't control the rain, but you can keep moving through the storm. That's how legacies are built, by those who kept walking when everyone else stopped to wait for the sun. Brody, there will be mornings when your body aches, when your mind screams for rest, when your heart whispers that no one notices your effort. That's the moment that separates the ordinary from the powerful. The ordinary listen. The powerful act. Discipline doesn't need applause. It doesn't seek validation. It seeks victory. Brody, you don't have to feel confident to move forward. You don't have to feel ready to begin. You only have to do what must be done again and again until action becomes your nature. Discipline rewires you. It replaces weakness with strength, hesitation with habit, chaos with control. Each time you act despite emotion, you forge a new identity, one that doesn't bend to moods or fear. Understand this: emotion wants pleasure. Discipline seeks purpose. Emotion says, do what feels good. Discipline says, do what makes you great. Emotion is loud in the moment, but silent in regret. Discipline is quiet in the moment, but thunders in victory. Choose which voice you'll obey. Brody, you think successful people always feel driven? They don't. They just learned that feeling doesn't matter. Only doing does. The world doesn't reward those who feel inspired. It rewards those who execute. Every result you desire, strength, respect, success, freedom, is earned through disciplined repetition of the right actions especially when you least feel like it. If you only move when you feel like moving, you'll never reach the mountaintop, because the climb hurts, it burns, it tests you. But that pain is the proof that you're building something real. Discipline uses pain as fuel. Emotion uses pain as an excuse. Every day, life will test you with two choices, the easy way or the right way. The easy way feels good now, but costs you later. The right way feels hard now, but rewards you forever. Discipline always chooses the right way. That's why it wins. You must train your mind like a warrior. When the feeling of weakness enters, answer with action. When fear whispers, move faster. When doubt appears, execute with precision. Discipline is not emotionless. It's emotion mastered. It's the art of controlling your inner world so the outer world cannot control you. Hebrew. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect. There is no perfect moment. The world belongs to those who act while others hesitate. Feelings fade, actions remain. The brick you lay today becomes part of the wall that protects your future. Each act of discipline is a weapon against the chaos inside you. If you want to rebuild yourself, if you want to rise beyond mediocrity, you must stop worshiping your emotions. They were never meant to lead. They were meant to be led. You are not your mood. You are not your fatigue. You are the commander of your actions. And when you command yourself to move consistently, relentlessly, your entire life will bend to your will. Discipline is freedom. That sounds like a paradox, but it's the deepest truth there is. When you master discipline, you no longer chase motivation. You create it. You no longer beg for results. You earn them. You no longer wait for life to change. You force it to. Discipline turns chaos into order, potential into power, and dreams into achievements. So when the day feels heavy, when your mind is fogged with doubt, when your body resists, remember this: your feelings don't build, your actions do. Every rep, every page, every step you take when you least feel like it is a declaration of mastery over yourself. That's what separates the leaders from the lost, the builders from the broken. Ibrahim, you will not always feel strong, but you can always act strong. And over time, action becomes strength. That's how you rebuild yourself, not by waiting for a spark, but by becoming the fire. Ibroker discipline over emotion. Focus over feeling. Action over everything. Because feelings fade, but the life built by disciplined hands will stand unshaken. Decide with finality. Burn the bridge behind you. Ibroker comes a point when hesitation must die. A point. When you stop negotiating with your excuses, stop entertaining doubt, and make a decision so absolute that retreat is no longer an option. That moment is the birth of power. The weak hesitate, the strong decide. The world does not bend for those who try. It bends for those who decide and never look back. Ibrahuer. Indecision is poison. It drains your energy, confuses your purpose, and delays your destiny. Every time you say, "I'll think about it," you surrender to fear. You give your dreams permission to wait, and the longer they wait, the weaker they become. Nothing kills potential faster than hesitation. The most dangerous word in any language is later, because later becomes never. When you decide with finality, something shifts inside you. Your mind stops searching for escape routes. Your energy stops scattering. Every part of you points in one direction. Decision is power concentrated. It gathers your will, your courage, your focus, and turns it into unstoppable momentum. Half decisions build half lives. Full decisions build empires. You can't rebuild your life while keeping doors open to your past. You can't rise while leaving a safe way back to weakness. You must burn the bridge behind you, the bridge that leads to your old habits, your old excuses, your old comfort, the bridge that tempts you to turn around when the path ahead becomes hard. If that bridge remains, you'll always consider returning to the life you said you'd outgrow. True commitment begins when retreat becomes impossible. People fail, not because they lack talent, but because they keep options. They keep a plan B to protect their fear, but Plan B is a coffin for Plan A. When you give yourself the chance to turn back, you'll take it the moment struggle arrives. Burn it all. Remove the safety nets. Make your decision a point of no return. The mind becomes creative, resourceful, and unstoppable only when it knows there's no way back. History is written by those who made irreversible decisions. The why didn't wait for certainty. They created it through action. The greatest achievers weren't fearless. They just decided that fear would not be allowed to lead. They made their choice once and never again revisited it. That's the key. Decide once and act forever. When you decide with finality, the world reacts. Opportunities align. Strength awakens, and people begin to follow your conviction. The universe respects decisiveness. It bends to clarity and ignores hesitation. When you send a signal of absolute commitment, life removes obstacles that fear had built in your mind. But understand this, decision is not about words. It's about execution. Saying I'll change means nothing if your actions still serve your old life. Real decision burns the bridge emotionally, mentally, and physically. If you've decided to grow, stop visiting the places that keep you small. If you've decided to heal, stop opening the wounds. If you've decided to rise, stop kneeling before comfort. Embrace the moment you decide. With full conviction, you'll feel resistance, your old self fighting for survival. It will whisper, maybe slow down, maybe you're not ready. Ignore it. That voice belongs to the version of you that's dying. Let it die. The new you doesn't negotiate with limitation. The new you acts with certainty. Decide with the kind of fire that makes comfort impossible. Make your decision a line in the sand, cross it, and never return. The people around you will feel it. They'll see that something inside you has changed, that you're no longer available for mediocrity. That's the energy of finality. It commands respect even from doubt itself. You've been standing at the crossroads long enough, waiting for a sign. Here it is, decide. Decide to rebuild, decide to commit, decide to live with purpose or continue dying slowly in indecision. There is no middle path. The middle path is where dreams rot. Once you decide, act immediately. Don't give fear time to recover. The longer you wait, the stronger hesitation becomes. Speed is the weapon of the decisive. The moment your mind says do it, move before the emotion fades. That single habit separates the successful from the stuck. You will lose some things when you decide with finality. People, habits, comfort, but you'll gain everything that truly matters: strength, clarity, direction. The fire that comes from a firm decision burns away weakness. It turns uncertainty into certainty and hesitation into hunger. Never forget, indecision is a slow death. Every maybe steals a piece of your power. Every hesitation erodes your confidence. Every delay tells your subconscious that you don't believe in yourself. But when you decide, when you say, this is it, I will make it work or die trying, the mind reorganizes itself around that command. It starts finding solutions instead of excuses. It begins to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You were not created to live halfway. You were created to move with conviction. The moment you decide, life begins to obey. Because nothing is stronger than a human being who has burned their bridge to the past and declared, I'm never going back. Choose the pain of growth. Choose the pain of growth over the comfort of decay. Choose the fire of purpose over the fog of hesitation. Make your decision your declaration of war against the old you. Burn the bridge, burn the excuses, burn the fear, and walk forward with nothing but your will. Once you do, you'll realize something powerful. Freedom lives on the other side of decision. The moment you close the way back, the only direction left is forward. And when forward is the only way, you move differently, you think differently, you live differently. Hebrew. So decide with finality. Leave no path to retreat. Burn every bridge that leads to weakness and step into the unknown with faith and fire. Because only when there is no way back do you discover how powerful you truly are. Decide with finality. Burn the bridge behind you. Hebrew. There comes a moment when hesitation beck. Ohms your enemy. When standing between two choices becomes the same as surrender, you can't rebuild your life while keeping one foot in your old world. You can't walk toward victory while glancing over your shoulder at safety. There comes a time when you must decide with absolute, unshakable finality, and then burn every bridge that leads you back to who you were. That moment separates those who wish from those who win. Indecision is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't destroy you in one blow. It starves you slowly. Every time you say maybe, you drain the power from your purpose. Every time you say someday, you push your destiny further away. The ones who build empires, the ones who change the course of their lives, are those who decide once and for all, this is it. No more hesitation, no more halfway living. Hebrew. Most people never commit because commitment is terrifying. It means risk. It means responsibility. It means you can no longer hide behind excuses. So they keep their bridge as intact. Back doors to comfort. Escape routes for failure. But you cannot rise while you're protecting your way to retreat. The bridge behind you must burn, not as punishment, but as purification. When the smoke clears, only the path forward remains. To decide with finality is to declare war on indecision. It's to silence the endless debate within your mind, the one that keeps asking, what if I fail? And instead start asking, what if I win? The difference between the weak and the unstoppable is not intelligence, talent, or opportunity. It's final decision. Once a person decides completely, the universe rearranges itself around that choice. But half decisions invite chaos. When your mind says yes, but your heart says maybe, life mirrors that confusion back to you. You cannot rebuild yourself while leaving pieces of your old identity intact. You can't create a new life with the same mindset that built your ruin. You must choose fully and finally to become someone new. That means letting go of everything that ties you to your former self, old habits, old beliefs, even old circles of comfort. Every bridge you burn behind you is a symbol of rebirth. It's the proof that your new life isn't just a wish, it's a command. When you burn the bridge, you destroy the illusion of safety. You force yourself to find strength you didn't know you had. That's why most people never do it. They'd rather live near the shore of certainty than sail toward the ocean of destiny. But the greats knew something different. When you have no way back, you become unstoppable. When retreat is no longer possible, every ounce of focus, courage, and creativity awakens within you. You stop wondering if you can and start figuring out how you will. Hebrew. Making a final decision doesn't mean the path becomes easy. It means the path becomes clear. You'll still face storms, doubt, exhaustion, but none of that will matter because you've already decided. Decision eliminates confusion. It replaces hesitation with clarity and fear with direction. You won't need motivation anymore. You'll be driven by purpose. The truth is, the most painful part of any transformation isn't the work. It's the decision to begin. Once you truly decide, momentum takes over. But most never reach that point because they spend their lives waiting for certainty. Let me be clear, you will never be certain. Certainty is a luxury of those who already acted. Courage isn't waiting for clarity. It's moving without it. If you want to rebuild yourself, you must treat your decision like a sacred vow. You make it once and never again question it. You remove every excuse, every exit, every plan B. Because plan B is the language of fear. It tells your subconscious that you don't fully trust your own strength. But when you burn the bridge, your mind transforms. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I must. Abrula, and when you operate from must, everything changes. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop asking for permiss. Ion. You stop seeking comfort because you finally understand that comfort is the enemy of greatness. The decision becomes your law, your identity, your fire. Even when you fall, you rise faster because there's no other choice. The bridge is gone. Bro. That's where real transformation happens. The human spirit doesn't awaken in comfort, it awakens in commitment. The moment you cut off every escape, you tap into a power that has been sleeping inside you. You discover focus you didn't know you possessed, courage you didn't know existed, endurance that shocks you. You stop surviving and start conquering. Ibrahim, you will know you've made a true decision when it scares you, when your mind screams for safety, but your soul roars louder. When you feel that combination of fear and freedom, that's how you know the bridge is burning. Don't run from it. Let it burn. The flames are not your enemy. They are your baptism. Decide with finality and do not look back. Don't entertain the thought of what could go wrong. The only question worth asking is, what will happen when I don't quit? Because once you've decided, once you've crossed that invisible line, the past has no claim on you. You no longer belong to who you were. You belong to who you're becoming. So if you want to rebuild yourself, stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop collecting advice, opinions, and reassurance. There will never be a right moment. The only right moment is the one when you decide. Make it now. Make it final. When you do, when you burn the bridge behind you and commit with everything you have, the fire will light your path forward. You'll realize that the bridge wasn't your safety. It was your prison. And by burning it, you didn't lose anything. You gained everything. Because from that day forward, you'll move like someone who has no way back. You'll fight harder. You'll think sharper. You'll live bolder. That's the energy of final decision, the energy that changes everything. Hey, Brui, so decide. Right now. Decide that, sir. E is no retreat, no turning back, no escape. Let your old life burn so your new one can rise. Because when the bridge is gone, the only direction left is forward, and forward is where greatness lives. Build from the mind outward. Thoughts create your structure. Everything you are, everything you have, everything you will ever become starts in your mind. The body follows the mind. The world bends to thought. Every victory, every downfall, every miracle you've ever seen began first as an invisible idea. You can't rebuild your life by rearranging the outside. You must reconstruct the inside. The world you live in is nothing but a reflection of the world you've built within. Change your mind, and your life will obey. Most people try to fix their results without fixing their thinking. They want success with the mindset of failure, freedom with the beliefs of captivity, happiness with the thoughts of doubt. It doesn't work. You cannot build a skyscraper on the foundation of weakness. You must rebuild your mind first, brick by brick, thought by thought, until it can hold the weight of the life you desire. Your thoughts are blueprints. Every idea you repeat becomes a design etched into your subconscious. That design turns into action, and those actions shape reality. If your inner blueprint is built from fear, you'll construct a life filled with limits. If it's built from strength and clarity, you'll rise with unshakable power. The outside world is not unfair. It's obedient. It mirrors whatever commands your mind sends. Ibrahim, you cannot escape the laws of thought. You attract what you think, you live what you believe, and you become what you repeatedly visualize. If you think small, you'll live small. If you think strong, you'll live strong. Every thought plants a seed, and every seed grows according to its kind. You can't plant fear and harvest courage. You can't plant doubt and expect confidence. Life is fairer than you think. It always gives you what your mind believes you deserve. So the first step in rebuilding yourself is not physical, it's mental. You must become a master builder of thought. You must guard your mind like a fortress, because everything entering it is either constructing or corrupting your future. Most people let their minds be invaded by fear, gossip, negativity, and doubt, and then wonder why their lives crumble under pressure. But the mind is sacred ground. Only allow what strengthens it to enter. Ibrahim, every morning start with the right blueprint. Think of who you want to be, not who you were. See yourself already living the life you are building toward. Let that image burn into your mind until it becomes more real than your current circumstances. The body and the universe will always align with the picture that dominates your thoughts. This is not wishful thinking, it's mental architecture. You are literally designing your future every time you think. The weak wait for life to change before changing their thoughts. The powerful change their thou. TS, to change their lives. Your mind is the origin of every outcome. If your thoughts are chaotic, your results will be chaotic. If your thoughts are disciplined, your actions will follow with precision. The mind commands, the world responds. Understand this: you cannot think defeat and live in victory. You cannot think limitation and walk in freedom. The thoughts you tolerate become the standards you live by. When you think like a victim, life treats you like one. When you think like a builder, life gives you the tools to construct. When you think like a conqueror, every obstacle becomes an opportunity. Your environment, your income, your health, your relationships, none of these are fixed. They are reflections of your mental structure. Rebuild the inner pattern, and the outer world must conform. But this requires discipline. You must reprogram the mind that once built your ruin. Every time an old thought of weakness rises, challenge it. Replace it. Train your mind like an athlete try. NS muscle, through repetition and resistance. Tell yourself daily, I am in control of my mind, and my mind creates my reality. Speak it until it becomes law, because once your subconscious accepts a new belief, it starts reshaping everything in your life to match it. That's the true power of rebuilding from the mind outward. Abra Lee, look around at your current life. It's the proof of your past thinking. Your present circumstances are old thoughts crystallized into form. That's not punishment, that's revelation. It means that if you don't like what you see, you have the power to rebuild from within. Every new thought is a new brick in the foundation of your next chapter. But here's what separates the disciplined from the dreamers. Most people think positively for a day, then sink back into doubt the moment pressure hits. You must hold the new thought like steel. Repetition creates belief, and belief reshapes identity. You must persist until your new mindset becomes instinct, until the strength in your thoughts becomes the strength in your actions. Hebrew, every master you admire began as a thinker who refused to think small. They were surrounded by failure, by chaos, by rejection, but they kept their inner blueprint pure. While others saw limitation, they saw opportunity. While others spoke of obstacles, they spoke of outcomes. They built first in their minds what others could not yet see, and the world eventually caught up. Gebro, that's how rebuilding works. You don't start by moving mountains. You start by commanding your thoughts. Every time you visualize, affirm, and act with belief, you are laying down new architecture inside yourself. Eventually, that invisible structure becomes visible to everyone else. Hebrew, you must understand, this is a lifelong practice. The mind never stops building. If you stop guiding it, it will start constructing chaos again. That's why mental discipline is not optional, it's survival. You must feed your mind power, truth, and vision every day. Because if you do, the world will feed it fear, doubt, and distraction. Your thoughts are not random, they are tools. They can destroy you or they can define you. If you want to rebuild your life, rebuild your thinking. Train it, command it, and protect it. Refuse to allow weakness a single thought of space, because thoughts are not passive, they are builders. Hebrew, so build with purpose, build with precision, build from the mind outward. Because when your inner world stands tall, your outer world has no choice but to rise to match it. Act daily. Small, consistent victories rebuild the giant. Hebrew 3.
Massive change never comes from massive effort once in a while. It comes from small,
relentless action taken every single day. Action that compounds, sharpens, and transforms you. The giant within you doesn't awaken through inspiration. It awakens through discipline. You rebuild your power by acting when others rest, by pushing when others pause, by moving forward even when no one is watching. Greatness doesn't explode into existence. It grows brick by brick, day after day. Through decisions so small they almost seem invisible, yet so powerful they reshape destiny. The truth is, Consistency is the greatest force on earth. It breaks resistance, rewires your habits, and redefines who you are. You don't need to win the war in one battle. You need to win the day, again and again, until winning becomes who you are. Every day you take action, no matter how small, you send a message to the universe, I'm still in the fight. And the universe responds to persistence more than passion. The man who acts daily will always defeat the man who acts occasionally, no matter how talented the latter may be. People overestimate intensity and underestimate consistency. They chase motivation, hoping for a surge of energy to change their lives. But the truth is, motivation fades, emotion fluctuates, and inspiration disappears. What remains? Action. The disciplined repetition of doing what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. Success belongs to those who act without needing to feel ready. You must train your mind to move even when your emotions resist, because action itself creates the momentum your emotions crave. Every small victory matters. The extra push when you're tired, the one more hour of study, the workout you didn't want to do, the journal entry when you felt nothing inside. These are not small, they are sacred. Each act of consistency lays a brick in the foundation of your future self, and though one brick seems insignificant, 1,000 of them build a fortress. The strongest people are not those who sprint for a week. They are those who march forward every single day, no matter the weather. Understand this truth. You don't rebuild your life in a day. You rebuild it through days, through the repetition of effort, through the rhythm of persistence. Even when progress feels invisible, something inside you is growing stronger. Every act of consistency sends a signal to your subconscious, teach, that you are changing. Slowly you begin to see it. The shift in your habits, the rise in your focus, the clarity in your purpose. And one day the world will see it too. Action is your cure. Action destroys doubt. Action kills fear. The moment you move, you silence the voices that say you can't. You don't need to think your way into change. You act your way into change. The body moves first, and the mind follows. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for motivation. Move now, because every second you hesitate, your old habits grow stronger roots. The only way to break the cycle is through immediate, repeated action. When you act daily, something remarkable happens. You build momentum. Momentum is the secret power of the disciplined. Once it starts rolling, it carries you forward even when your strength fades. That's why the hardest step is always the first one. The first workout, the first journal entry, the first hard conversation. But the moment you start, you break the inertia. T has kept you stuck. Keep moving, and momentum will become your ally. It will carry you through storms you once thought impossible. Consistency turns chaos into structure. It transforms confusion into clarity. It takes the scattered energy of your thoughts and directs it toward progress. Every day of focused action tightens your aim, strengthens your will, and brings you closer to mastery. This is how giants are rebuilt, not through bursts of emotion, but through disciplined rhythm. The world belongs to those who show up daily, not to those who talk, not to those who dream, but to those who do. You may think your small efforts don't matter, but they do. Every repetition, every moment of resistance, every decision to keep going builds invisible power within you. When you look back after months of persistence, you'll realize that what seemed impossible became inevitable. It was not one big leap. It was 1,000 small steps. Each day you sharpened your blade. Each day you rebuilt the Jian. T.A. Brewer. The world rewards consistency with mastery. Skill is not talent, it's repetition. Confidence is not luck, it's preparation. Strength is not emotion, it's the result of doing the work again and again until the extraordinary becomes ordinary. You become unbeatable when your actions become automatic, when doing the right thing is no longer a battle but a reflex. That's when you know you've truly rebuilt yourself, when discipline replaces doubt. But understand this, daily action is not glamorous, it's not loud, it's not praised, and it's often unnoticed. The grind happens in silence. The results speak later. You must be willing to walk through boredom, frustration, and fatigue without quitting. That's the true mark of greatness. The ability to stay faithful to the mission long after the excitement fades. Every day you act, you're rewriting your identity. You're proving to yourself that you're not the same person who once gave up. One day, those small victories will accumulate into an unshakab. Le foundation. The habits you've built will hold you steady when life tries to break you. You will look back and realize that every small effort mattered, that each consistent act was a seed, and together they created a forest, that the person you become was not built overnight but shaped over time by daily discipline, relentless focus, and quiet determination. Hebrew key, so act today, act again tomorrow, and keep acting until the act itself becomes who you are. Small, consistent victories rebuild the giant, not someday, but now, moment by moment, brick by brick. Because the greatest transformation doesn't happen in sudden bursts. It happens daily, through the unstoppable power of persistence. Hebrew key, cut off weak influences. Protect the blueprint of your mind. The mind is your most sacred construction site. Every thought, every word, every influence that enters it becomes part of the blueprint of your life. If you allow weakness to enter, weakness will live inside you. If you allow doubt, gossip, or AR to occupy space in your thoughts, it will silently rewrite your destiny. You cannot build strength surrounded by weakness. You cannot construct greatness surrounded by mediocrity. To rebuild yourself, you must protect your mind with ruthless precision. You must cut off weak influences before they poison the foundation you're trying to fortify. Most people fail not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they tolerate the wrong environment. They let negative voices define what's possible. They let small minds shape big dreams. They stay around people who drain their focus, mock their ambition, and dismiss their growth. You cannot absorb poison and expect to stay pure. Every influence is an ingredient. If the ingredients are rotten, the outcome will be too. You must become deliberate about what and who you allow into your mental space. Every conversation is either constructing or corroding your belief system. Every song, post, video, or person you entertain is programming. Your subconscious. Your future is being written by what you consume today. Most people underestimate this. They think they can listen to gossip, absorb negativity, and still think powerfully. They can't. The human mind is like wet cement. Whatever is pressed into it hardens over time. That's why protecting it is not optional. It's survival. To rebuild yourself, you must learn the art of cutting away. Cut away the energy that's your purpose. Cut away the noise that drowns your clarity. Cut away the people who refuse to grow, who choose comfort over vision, who trade dreams for excuses. You don't hate them. You just refuse to let them build within your mind, because what you tolerate today becomes what you become tomorrow. Hebrew, we understand this. You are constantly being influenced. The question is, by what? If you spend your days surrounded by the undisciplined, you'll start making excuses like them. If you surround yourself with builders, those who think, act, and move with strength, you'll start rising without effort. The energy of your environment either strengthens your structure or weakens it. You can't soar surrounded by anchors. Hebrew, weak influences are not always loud. Sometimes they whisper. They appear as friends who say, "Take it easy," when you should be pushing harder. They come as habits that feel harmless, scrolling, comparing, procrastinating, but slowly erode your mental focus. They disguise themselves as comfort, but comfort, when abused, is the slowest form of destruction. You must become aware of what pulls your power away, and you must remove it without apology. Guarding your mind requires discipline. You cannot rebuild while keeping the same mental diet that destroyed you. You must feed your mind truth, strength, and vision. Replace empty talk with powerful books. Replace distractions with reflection. Replace shallow company with solitude if necessary. Solitude is not loneliness, it is construction. It's where you reinforce your foundation, strengthen your entity, and sharpen your focus. The mind grows strongest in silence, where no weak influence can distort its structure. And don't think you can keep weak people close and stay unaffected. Influence is invisible but inevitable. The standards of those around you will either lift you or limit you. You become like the environment you live in. Always. If you surround yourself with lazy minds, you'll find yourself lowering your ambition to fit in. But if you surround yourself with driven minds, your potential will expand just to keep pace. Protecting your mind is not arrogance, it's awareness. You owe it to your future to be selective. You are not better than anyone, but you are building something better for yourself. And builders don't invite destruction to dinner. You cannot grow in soil that resists growth. If your circle mocks your hunger, change your circle. If your environment distracts your focus, change your environment. If your influences are weakening your blueprint, rebuild your wall. Else and reset your boundaries. Abru, your mind is your workshop. Every idea, goal, and decision is crafted there before it becomes real. If the workshop is filled with noise, you can't create clarity. If it's filled with chaos, you can't produce order. You must keep it clean. Every morning, decide what thoughts will enter. Every night, reflect on what doesn't belong and remove it. That's how you protect your blueprint, by becoming the gatekeeper of your inner world. Ebru. This doesn't mean isolation forever. It means elevation first. When your foundation is strong enough, when your walls are fortified, then you can face the world without being shaken by it. But until then, your environment must be sacred. You can't rebuild your structure with cracks in your walls. Strength requires insulation. Fibrewen. Think of your mind as a fortress. The stronger your protection, the greater your peace. The weaker your guard, the easier it is for mediocrity to invade. Guard your inputs. Guard your company. Guard your focus. Because the moment you lower your defenses, distraction creeps in and starts rewriting the story you're trying to tell with your life. Greatness is not only about what you do, it's about what you refuse to allow. You cannot plant seeds of power in a garden of weeds. Remove the weeds daily. Whether they come from other people or from within your own thoughts, pull them out, because even a single weed left unchecked can strangle an entire garden over time. You're not rebuilding just for today. You're rebuilding for legacy. Every thought you protect today strengthens the foundation for tomorrow. The mind you guard now will determine the future you live later. So protect it with your life. Be intentional. Be selective. Be unshakable in your standards. Abrahwi, weak influences destroy quietly, but strength grows deliberately. Choose the latter. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, who remind you of your vision, who demand your best. Choose information that fuels you, not entertainment that drains you. Choose silence over noise. Choose elevation over comfort, because your mind is the architect of your destiny. And if you don't protect the blueprint, someone else will rewrite it for you. Persist until you rise. Refuse defeat. Demand growth. There comes a point in every life where quitting whispers louder than courage. The body feels heavy. The path seems endless, and the results appear invisible. That is the moment where most people stop and where the strong are born. Persistence is not glamour. It is not excitement. It is the quiet, grinding decision to keep moving forward when the world tells you to stop. It is the strength to rise after failure, the fire to rebuild after loss, the will to demand growth when comfort begs you to rest. You are not defined by how easily you win, but by how fiercely you refuse to surrender. Persistence is the weapon of the rebuilder. When everything falls apart, it is persistence that picks up the first piece. When doubt shouts that it's over, it is persistence that whispers, not yet. The difference between the ordinary and the unstoppable is simple. One gives up after pain. The other uses pain as proof that the process is working. You cannot rise without resistance. Growth is a battle, and persistence is your armor. Ebru. Every great transformation begins with failure. Every success story was once a series of defeats endured by someone too stubborn to give up. The world bows to persistence because it cannot outlast it. You will face storms, rejection, exhaustion, and silence. But the one who keeps going becomes untouchable. You cannot be broken by what you refuse to stop fighting through. The mountain only looks impossible to those who stare at it too long. The climber who keeps taking one